You're watching Car Nitty. My name is Mizan, and today is one of those moments where I have to look in the mirror and say I'm very blessed. I've had some crazy cars on the channel, cars that I can't even have imagined that I would even get the opportunity to drive. Yet I've met some lovely owners who have come down, brought it, and we've made a video with it, and we've shared it with the world. And today is one of those days. A car that I genuinely didn't think I'd get my hands on. It's a Lexus ISF. It's come at a good time as well, because very recently I drove an IS250, and prior to that I've driven the B7 RS4 and the W204 C63. After today, only the E9x M3 is going to be like a unicorn that I need to grab a hold of. And I also want to give a massive shout out to E1 Mudge for making this review happen. If you know anyone that has a cool car or interesting car, please get in touch with me and let's make it happen. So in case you didn't know, Lexus is owned by Toyota, and what they are is essentially the premium version of Toyota, just like Volkswagen and Audi. In the last 20 years, both brands have been very focused on creating hybrid and electric cars. I mean, you could honestly count the best cars they've made in the past 2 decades with your hands. That's how few great cars that have come out of their factories, and this has to be on that list. And I still find it crazy that Lexus back in 2008, when they knew what the M3 was capable of and what the C63 and the RS4, that they thought, let's have a bit of that, and they came up with this. An ISF is going to cost you from around £17,000 onwards, very similar money to a pre-facelift E9x M3 and a pre-facelift W204 C63. Now, brand new, this car cost a few grand more than the German counterparts. The reason for that is it gets a lot of options as standard on this car compared to the German cars. Another thing to note is this car is quite rare on our roads, so if you have one, you're very unlikely going to bump into someone else with one of these. So what kind of power does the ISF pack? So it sports a 5-litre naturally aspirated V8, which produces 417 brake horsepower and 505 newton meters of torque. Now that torque number is actually quite high for a car of this age. The BMW and Audi produce numbers in the 400s. This car is in the 500s, and the 6.2 litre naturally aspirated C63 had 600 newtons of torque, which is proof that back then it was the displacement that gave that high torque number. This car is paired with an 8-speed automatic gearbox, which in my opinion doesn't suit the personality of the car. I think that a dual clutch box or a manual would have been better equipped. This gearbox was very controversial back then because it's the world's first 8-speed, and people criticised it for having too many gears. Back then people had only gotten used to the idea of a 7-speed. Lexus are still trying to be innovative with the number of gears. Some of the cars right now have a 10-speed, so Lexus is still doing the same thing even to this day. It sends all 417 horses to the rear wheels via an open electronic drift. So much like the Mercedes with the 6.2, they decided not to give an LSD to put that power down all the way. In this part of the video, I usually talk about modifications, but as this car is mainly stock with a few subtle mods, I think it's better to talk about the styling. So in terms of styling, the German rivals really want you to know you are driving the performance car. Lexus, not so much. Let's talk about some of the styling cues they have. It has more pronounced front and rear arches, but only slightly. The bonnet is also more defined, and it gives a more aggressive look, but again, very, very subtle. On the inside of the car, you still get big leather sofa seats. You're not getting any track focus bucket seats, and the main telltale sign is a silver carbon weave pattern on the interior trims. The back of the car is where you get the biggest sign. You obviously get the ISF badge, but the main thing is the lovely figure 8 exhaust tips. Now this owner's modified his tips, but otherwise they're figure 8 design, and you can tell that's not standard. But even then, the back of the car doesn't even have much of a diffuser, it's just the tips. So you can tell Lexus was really marketing this car towards the 35 plus market, whereas the German cars were really aiming for the 20s. So should Lexus have even bothered to make this car, or should they have just let the Germans crack on while they watch? Let's hit the road and see what this car's like. We're now in the ISF, and I want to give a nice warm welcome to Sam.
Yeah, nice to meet you, brother. Nice to be on the channel.
Thank you, man. You actually watch the channel, don't you?
Yeah, I watch the channel. I've watched a couple of your vids. And yeah.
So
cool guy.
really honoured that obviously you've come down with your car, and E1 Mudge was a massive part of making that happen. Because he said to me, "Why don't you get an ISF?" I'm like, "If you know anyone," and then straight, that was it. Line of communication was set up, and here we are. So yeah, ISF, man, is something that you genuinely don't see. I think this might be the only ISF I've ever seen, realistically.
Oh wow, yeah.
What about yourself? Have you seen it? Have you met any other owners?
In my lifetime, I've probably only seen 3.
Whoa.
And only last year.
Are you including your own one?
Oh no, I'm not.
Okay.
Only last year was the first time I got to sit in one, and that just reignited the fire in my belly to go get one.
The colour, grey.
Yes.
It is a lovely shade, but it only is very subtle along with the car.
That's it.
Because there's one colour which is the blue colour, and that looks stunning.
That was the dream colour, but they're really, really pricey and expensive.
Yeah. I'm sure brand new it wasn't that much, but as there's such low-key cars, that's the colour choice that everyone wants almost.
That's correct. I've come from an F&2 Civic, and you know, when you drive those cars, you drive them quite hard. And when I knew that I was getting this Lexus, I said, this is my dream car. I'm not going to be one of these guys that only do 2,000 miles a year, only drive 40 miles an hour on the A13. I said, I'm going to drive it how I want to, and how it came out of the box. I'm going to be tracking it soon in Germany in the next couple of weeks.
Exactly.
So, basically I decided to get the car fully serviced, so there's spark plugs, your oils, your diff fluid. Came up to about $1,000 from a Lexus specialist, but you know what?
Money well spent.
Money well spent.
Peace of mind.
No problems with the car.
One thing to bear in mind about this car, which is crazy, is it takes 10 litres of oil.
10 litres of oil. 10
damn litres. That's crazy.
Drink, ladies and gentlemen.
That is a lot.
Take a lot of oil, but between servicing, I've probably only had to top up half a litre.
So did you consider the other cars, the M3, the C63, the RS4?
So funny enough, my original dream car was actually the Audi RS4,
the B7,
which we recently reviewed, and it was one of them ones, bro, where I absolutely loved that car.
If you like the Lexus and you like the Audi, you're clearly a man that likes his low-key cars. Now you're in your late 20s, and both of those cars were aimed at more middle-aged man, late 30s kind of market, because the BMW and the Mercedes are very shouty, look at me.
That's it.
And the Audi and the Lexus is so low-key, and considering your age, it's crazy to think that Audi was your dream car and now you're in the ISF, which is kind of mad.
Literally, what happened when I was a young teenager back in 2008, Top Gear released a review of this car, and bro, like, this car just took my soul. I just love the backstory of how it came about. The Lexus engineers were like, you know what, let's push the envelope a bit, let's make a performance car. And the one thing I want to say is that yes, in all the reviews, the ISF probably lost the battle, but how I say it was that the ISF went up to 10 rounds in the boxing ring with the C63, the RS4s or whatnot, and just got knocked out on the last round.
The best thing to describe it is they're purebred performance cars, like generations of, feel like horse breeding, you know, like championship winning horses. Like that sperm is worth a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? Whereas the Lexus is like, you know, let's make this donkey into a horse.
Basically,
that's essentially it, isn't it?
This car's got 2 oil pumps, one in the sump, and one at the side of the engine. That's to do with hard cornering.
So not all starvation.
That's it, correct. It was it was made in partnership with Yamaha. So
Yamaha played a massive part in making this engine happen. How is the speed of the shifts? Because I'm thinking of a car of this age, surely it's not going to have the best.
So, I think it has a split personality, just like how we say Hondas do with V10. So at low RPM, you could really, really feel how much of an old gearbox it is. Just a granddad cruise, whatever. And then when you put your foot down, it's got a kick down button.
Ooh, that sounds damn good.
I told you with the induction kit.
That sounded damn good.
Yeah, on motorways, I'll go to pick up my daughter from Birmingham, man. Literally, I can get 33 mpg.
I have a V8, 5 litre, NA.
So my twin brother, he's got an E9x M3, and I've driven that before. And the one thing I say, what has let Lexus down with this ISF, is that the gear ratios are so big, or high, shall we say.
So
basically, on a country road blast, you're using the paddles. You wouldn't enjoy it more as compared to E9x M3.
Is it because you reach the red line really quickly, or it's too long?
It's too long, so you don't even get the sound that you want to hear on the B road and the speed.
Got it.
Yeah,
You're either going too slow, but you're making a lot of noise.
Exactly.
Or you're going too fast, but not enough noise.
That's it. 20 miles an hour, foot down.
Sounds damn good. Those brakes are good. 6-spot calipers, isn't it?
6-spot calipers.
Some big beefy brakes on this, which I love to see.
For someone who's really a Jap guy at heart.
Yeah, you are a Jap guy. You got your FN2.
I wanted, the key thing was reliability.
Yeah.
I did look at the E92s because again my twin brother was telling me to get one. They're nice, they're quick. I do love them, but for me,
you managed to fulfill that big V8 need inside of you, but stick to your roots of being a Jap man.
That's it. Thank you.
I can't blame you.
You just basically answered what I was just about to say, bro.
And one thing to note is your mileage is over 100,000 miles, isn't it?
Yep, I'm on 115 miles.
115,000 miles?
Yes.
This is the crazy thing. A lot of people would be scared to buy 120,000 mile M3, C63. I'll even admit, I don't think I'd be that scared to pick up a 120,000, because it's a Lexus at the end of the day.
That's what I'm saying.
How bad can it be, you know?
That's what I'm saying, my bro. Maintenance is really sweet. The brakes, all in, only cost me about 300. The E92, the E92.
Just brake pads though?
No, front pads and disc, and just rear pads.
Okay.
Yeah, that cost me 300.
Just the parts?
Yeah, just the parts.
That's still very, very cheap. Whoa! Oh, you know what? Already just off that, this is feeling like the C63. The character's all in the engine.
Yeah.
And the ride of the C63 without the LSD as well, it just feels really nuts, just like that.
Yeah.
That's where they come alive.
Yeah.
Come on, man, look at that bend. Come on, annihilate that bend. That noise, that induction makes a massive difference.
I'm telling you, my bro.
That induction is insane. It's like a supercharged car, the way it sounds.
This car's got rev matching as well.
Oh, so automatic rev matching. As soon as you shift,
that's it.
You can feel the torque.
Yeah.
This car is very torquey. All right, so it looks like we're coming to a stop on a private road, and yeah, he's gonna do a bit of a launch.
Cool.
So how does it work? Brake boost or?
Yeah. 60.
Oh my god. The way it pulls is so linear. I can't even tell.
That's what I'm saying.
I can't even tell where you are in the rev range.
Yeah.
I just can't tell. It feels the same through
Lexus, they've done bits with this this car and the power delivery. Like literally,
this engine still exists now. It's in the LC500, I believe.
And the RCF and the GSF.
Yeah. Obviously they've changed it to make it more modern. Yeah. But can you imagine if we lived in a world where the 6.2 in the C63 was still alive?
Yeah.
And I think a large part of that is to do with fleet emissions, isn't it? Because most of Lexus's fleet is electric and hybrid cars, so they can go nuts on cars like this. There's nothing like a damn V8, man. There's nothing like a V8.
The only thing I wanted to mention about putting the power down is, again, from 2008 to 2010, these cars didn't come with LSD. They've got E-diff, so it uses the brakes to so manage the power.
It's not the best thing in the world.
It's not the best thing in the world. So what most of these ISF enthusiasts do is that they tend to, because the 2010 ones are an extra 8 grand on top of these ones.
Wow, okay.
What people do is they'll buy the 2008,
put
LSD on for about 1,500 just for the part alone, without fitting, and and then they call it a day. The 2010 ones come with softer suspension, so instead of, people don't really want to be buying coilovers for this car. You don't really want to do that for a car like this. So then everyone goes for the 2008, 2010 because they're much stiffer. Definitely, because it's Lexus. You can tell this car is very confused. It's like Lexus didn't know what the assignment was. Come on, man, stretch that road. So I've just jumped in the ISF, and very familiar to the IS250 I drove just a couple of weeks ago.
which is a good thing and a bad thing in some ways, isn't it? Good thing for the IS250 owner, and not moderately bad for the ISF owner, but if only it had a bit more design cues or something, you know. In terms of the steering wheel, you get the F logo and the dials are blue. Those are the big signature things with the F. Apart from that, it's all very standard IS. You get these huge wing mirrors that give you some awesome visibility, isn't it? Massive wing mirrors. The interior has aged quite badly, just like I said in the IS250, because the thing about the German cars is they do focus a lot more on interior. Japanese are never known for the interior. Although Lexus makes amazing interiors, they're more about tech rather than the actual aesthetics of it. Exactly. So we've got some, you know, cheap plastic up here, and the entire infotainment is very Prius-like, and I say that because obviously I've got a daily driver which is a Prius. But this is what I'm saying, this car's got a lot of design cues out of the Toyotas of the similar age, and some people would have a problem with that. I do too, to a certain extent, because imagine I bought this car for 20 grand. And it's got so many design cues from my 3 grand Prius. It is a bit mad when you think of it that way, isn't it? I think back then though, this was revolutionary. The spec, the tech, it was way more better than its
radar,
rivals.
cruise control, got the sport mode there,
folding mirrors, reverse camera.
It's got the adaptive light through the corners at night time.
Adaptive headlights.
That's it. And so heated seats. You know, I'm comfortable as my daily driver.
I mean, look, it would have been amazing if this car came with some bucket seats. But the honest truth is, these are amazing. They're so comfortable right now. So it makes absolute sense why they just didn't even bother with the bucket seats. Even in regards to the exhaust, I mean, you've got back key, but there's just no drone. Like, that's crazy. Is there any at the motorway at a certain miles per hour?
No, literally none of that, bro.
The induction makes this car feel like a supercharged car. Honestly,
that's what I'm saying.
It feels like a supercharged car in terms of noise.
It's flipping nice, bro.
Because NA cars, obviously, it's all about the noise that comes at the back end of the car, not the front. So it's nice to know that you are getting some sort of induction noise here. One thing that I think is a crime on this car is the arches. When you're buying a car of this level, it can be as subtle as you want it. Don't give up. Don't give me some skinny arches. That's my rule. What's your view?
No, I agree, because the tyres that came stock in this car on Lexus was 225s at the front and 225s at the back, and I'm like, yo, those are skinny tyres. Like, why did Lexus do that? And I feel like maybe they done that like in typical Japanese fashion, just so the aftermarket side can fit bigger tyres. So I've now got 235s at the front, 275s in the rear. And
this is the thing that gives the fitment there, but the arches is still not there. It's not a bolt. You can't call this a bolt, but it's still not refined in the sense of precision. Like, you're gonna take this on track. I'm actually really excited to know you're gonna take this and how you fare. Because you said it's got 2 oil pumps, so it is built to withstand that to a certain degree.
That's correct.
But in other ways, it's lacking. So I'm genuinely excited to see what your experience with this is gonna be like.
Like I said, I've got the brakes there to help me.
The brakes.
And we'll just have to see how.
I know exactly what you mean. I wanted to rev it out there, but I'm nowhere near it.
So you see what I'm saying about the gear ratios?
Everything about this car points to the fact that it has the potential to be the killer.
And it shifts quicker at higher speeds, but at lower speeds.
And I like that throw it does in your seat. Obviously it's a single clutch gearbox, but it's nice the way it did that throw.
That's actually a common thing which sells people to get this ISF, is actually that manual pulse. As much as it's not fast as the DCT, everyone loves that pulse, and then it goes.
That was nice. It's like the car's taking a big gasp of air before it's like, okay, next gear. There's a lot of oversteer, isn't it?
But that's because my tyres are almost.
So this section of my test route really figures out how refined the car is. I mean, it's not very. The front end is not very planted as well. I know you got the PS4s up front, but it's not very composed. And what it is I think this car is proof that luxury and performance can't almost be achieved.
that is very true.
This
Because there's so many compromises the car manufacturer has to take into consideration. They have to think about their market.
Wow. And look at that, the road is so uneven and this car just takes it. Why? It's because of the way it's been set up. Yeah. And that's something, if I was doing an E9x M3 or C63, trust me, it scrapes. Yeah. So this car for me is not a track car. This is a B-roader. This car, being a Japanese car, has so much personality. And I love the fact that the Germans are so different to this. They have such a similar formula. This is its own formula.
That's it. That's its own package.
Look how uneven the road is. The car is bouncing with it because of how soft it's damp, but at least it's able to swallow it. So many cars would crumble. See, the thing is, I've driven many cars down this road, and I can honestly tell you, this is not the fastest thing I've driven. But do I care? But do I care though? Look at my face. Wow, that was a really, really uneven one.
That's it.
And you know what? I've never felt it in any car as much as this, because this car is designed to soak it. Honestly, Lexus, how did they build that engine? What a manufacturer they are. These are the same guys that built the LFA. And it's so hard to rev it out sometimes, man. I keep falling into that trap.
That's it.
You know, the solution to the problem with the gear ratio is just sit in second. Just sit in second. And the second has this torque. It has so much torque, like,
that's it.
Look at the way it throws us in our seat. What a noise. Honestly, what a machine. Lexus, you produced the gem.
Lexus is known for its technology and luxury. They have an upstanding reputation for creating cars for the average consumer. What a leap of faith this car was as a project back in 2008. It took the very ordinary and humble IS and transformed it into a car that competes against German royalty. Those are pedigree performance cars, and the bar was set very high. The car is not as ludicrous as its rivals, and it has a very confused personality. It's loud, yet not obnoxious, and not as visually aggressive. It's good on fuel, cheaper to run and reliable. Its suspension is very forgiving and the gearbox isn't that well suited, but that's its charm. It's daily drivable and is built for our terrible British roads, yet can take a hammering when you come across a twisty road. If you ask me, Lexus set their own standards and met their customers' needs, and the reason they're so limited is because we didn't buy enough of these, so shame on us for making this car extinct. If you like this video, do remember to like, comment, share and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Take care.